Early morning, June 22, 1941. Following a massive aerial and artillery preparation, German troops crossed the Soviet border. This marked the beginning of the Great Patriotic War. The Brest Fortress was among the first to face the enemy's full might. On the eve of the invasion, half of the garrison had been withdrawn for exercises. Only about 8,000 people remained inside the fortress that morning. The assault was led by the 45th Infantry Division under Major General Fritz Schlieper, totaling 20,000 men. The Germans held a crushing advantage in artillery. In addition to standard regiments, they brought in massive 211mm mortar and rocket launchers, specifically to breach the fortress walls, which were nearly 5 feet thick. The German command expected the fortress to surrender within 8 hours. At 4 a.m. Soviet time, the barrage began. Within 15 minutes, warehouses were ablaze, water pipes were shattered, and the garrison's communication lines were severed. Everything outside the stone walls was swept away. Artillery parks were destroyed, and the vehicle fleet was incinerated. At 4:30 a.m., the ground assault began. 3 battalions of infantry charged the fortress gates. The German storm troops suffered heavy losses. Almost immediately, nearly 2/3 of their men fell in the first wave. Despite this, they managed to capture 2 strategic bridges connecting the West and South Islands to the citadel. The first wave reached the North Gate without resistance, but the second wave was met by a fierce Soviet counterattack. The defenders held their ground at the Volyn and Kobrin fortifications with desperate bravery. By noon, the situation stabilized. German units managed to entrench themselves in parts of the citadel, including the officers' club and the mess hall. Groups led by Captain Shablovsky and Lieutenant Kizivatov began their legendary resistance. By 7 a.m., some units managed to break out of the city, but thousands were left behind, trapped and deprived of central command. Many soldiers were confused. In those first chaotic days, mass surrenders occurred among those caught in the open. only a small portion of the garrison remained active in the defense. These soldiers formed spontaneous combat groups, operating in total isolation from one another. By 9 a.m., the fortress was completely encircled. The first day was a bloodbath for the Germans. The 45th Division lost 21 officers and nearly 300 soldiers. This was an unusually high toll for a single day of combat, forcing the Germans to pull back and rely on artillery. Through loudspeakers, the Germans demanded surrender. Over 1,900 people gave up. However, in the eastern citadel, defenders managed to drive the Germans out of the ring barracks and unite to strong resistance pockets. Under the cover of night, Lieutenant Vinogradov attempted a breakout. It failed. Most participants were either killed or captured. After the Germans took the main ramparts, the chances of a successful escape vanished. By June 24th, the German staff reported the citadel captured, claiming they were only clearing small pockets. But they were wrong. The eastern fort, held by 600 men under Major Pyotr Gavrilov, continued to fight. Major Gavrilov was the last high-ranking officer left. By June 26th, after the Germans blew up sections of the barracks and the officer's house, the final 450 defenders in the citadel were forced to lay down their arms. At the Terespol Gate, Kizavatov's group fought until June 29th. Their final, desperate attempt to break out to the south ended in tragedy. Most were killed. The eastern fort only fell because the Germans dropped a 1,800 kilogram bomb. The official mopping up ended on June 30th, but individual defenders remained hidden in the tunnels. Major Gavrilov, the last known defender, was captured only on July 23rd, wounded and exhausted, over a month after the siege began. German losses were staggering, 480 to dead and over 1,000 wounded. To put that in perspective, the entire 45th Division lost only 158 men during the entire Polish campaign. The Brest Fortress had become a graveyard for the invincible Wehrmacht. Why were the surrenders so high? Historians point to low discipline in some units and the lack of a unified command. Communication was non-existent. The soldiers were fighting individual battles, not a coordinated defense. Strategically, the Soviet High Command considered the fortress secondary. It wasn't built to withstand modern artillery. Yet, it controlled a vital highway and transport hub, which the Germans desperately needed for their advance. Major Gavrilov survived the war, but was only rehabilitated in the 1950s. He had been expelled from the party simply for losing his membership card during his time in a POW camp. Only two defenders were initially named heroes of the Soviet Union. In August 1941, Hitler and Mussolini visited the ruins. Hitler wanted to see how a division that took Paris so easily could lose so many men here. Mussolini's visit was political. Hitler wanted to show off the power of German weapons. For years, the story of Brest was forgotten. It only came to light in 1942, when captured German documents about the siege were found. But the true story remained hidden until the early 1950s. Writer Sergei Smirnov began his own investigation, tracking down survivors like Gavrilov. He brought their heroism to the public eye, marking the first time forgotten feats of the war were truly honored. Today, the Brest Fortress stands as a monument to human endurance and a reminder of the terrible cost of war. Their sacrifice wasn't in vain. They held the line when the world was falling apart. Subscribe for more deep dives into military history, lest we forget.